Hi, my name is Rebecca Finlayson, and this is my 10 Little Indians project. I chose the theme relationships from the story Do You Know Where I Am by Sherman Alexie. With this, I am going to cover the beginning of the story, as well as the little trials that happen throughout, to build on the stance of how important it is to grow throughout the relationship and forgive and choose love for each other over everything else. Thank you. Let's dive in. This is our first slide with quote number 1, where it will tell us how they met and how they found out that they actually have a lot in common. It states, "We met at the first mixer dance of our freshman year and soon discovered that we were the only confirmed Native American Roman Catholics within a 3-mile radius of campus. So we slept together, and that inaugural night we kept sleeping together for the next 3 years." This shows us, and in the story, it develops their little background to Sharon and David and how they actually have a lot in common, such as being Native American, from different tribes and backgrounds, but along the same childhood, as well as having the same religion. With this, I chose a university, a religious university, to support this quote for my picture. Our next slide, we get to see how the relationship kind of folds out and develops slowly. So for quote number 2, it states, "We were known as Sharon and David, the Bohemian Indians. We were inseparable. We ate meals together and fed each other." So from this, we can see how happy they are. Like they are literally almost glued to the hip. And it makes me think of someone codependent. And when they say that they feed each other, it makes me kind of think of a baby because they are codependent, and we feed them. So that is why I chose that picture to represent this. And even though things are looking great, we know that there are bumps ahead, um, but they still choose love. So let's get into it. So this quote represents the first dilemma when David lied to Sharon and other people about and taking credit for the cat she found. Um, and this kind of makes their relationship weak. And they really have to try to rebuild it to get to the better stand because right now it kind of feels fragile. So for quote number 3, it says, "You lied. How could you do that?" "I don't know," I said. Sharon broke away from me and ran, excuse me. I didn't see her that night. So this quote kind of goes in depth of how they were hurt. And it's okay to be hurt and it's okay to react. And this actually makes me reflect on myself and how I deal with emotions when I'm angry. Um, so we can see how Sharon's angry and how kind of stunned David is with the fact of this big fight that's happening. Um, and how she was so hurt that she didn't even see him later on and just needed time to process. So this is the first really big conflict that happens. And let's go on to the next quote to see how it resolves. So we find out that Sharon later does come back to David. However, David kind of feels like things are fragile within the relationship and that he's scared to make one wrong move because if he does, he's scared it's going to fall apart. So this is what quote number 4 says. "I didn't want to ask her why she came back. We were so fragile." So again, kind of what we just said. And he later on goes on how he is kind of terrified that one wrong move, things can just fall apart just like that. However, we can see that they grow closer together to rebuild and mend their relationship from love and choosing each other. Um, but for the picture for quote number 4, I chose a fragile sticker that like you usually get on a package to kind of represent handle with care because that is what is happening with the relationship right now after that big blow up is they are handling it with care. Time plays a big part in this. As we can tell that they get back together, like she came back, they worked it out, and then with time, uh, they live a happy and long life. He proposed he proposed to her at the end of their senior year before the big fight happened, and she chose to stick it out. With that love and being strong towards each other, nothing can stand in your way. So for quote number 5, I picked for the next 29 years we lived as husband and wife, showing that there's nothing that literally stands in their way. And I chose a little sand glass to represent that. Because again, all you have is time to be with each other and choose each other, and that is what they're doing. Um, with their time, their kids have kids and families of their own. And Sharon confesses to David that she actually had an affair. And we can see how David is hurt by this through his emotions. And this is why I love this quote and pick this one, is because you can kind of see how human he is and how hurt he is and how Sharon responds to that hurtness from a loved one. So quote number 6 says, Sharon confessed an extramarital affair. Oh, excuse me. What happened of what kind of husband was I? Apparently, I was the kind of husband whose wife needed to sleep with at least one other man and an untold number of others who might be waiting in line. So this kind of explains how sassy David is and hurt he is over what he just found out. However, they're able to work it out and rebuild their marriage with a lot of hard work and a lot of communication and a lot of sorrow and remorse from Sharon. Sharon actually goes on to say how she doesn't love anybody else but David, and she chooses to stick by David and wants to fight to work to fix this, and is so regretful to what she has done. So let's see, quote number 7. Before we get in, back to quote number 6, I forgot to explain the line of people. I represented that from the last stanza of it being that she probably has a line of people who are waiting for her. Anyways, for quote number 7, we can see how remorseful Shannon is from this um, terrible event of cheating on her husband, who she loves. She says, I never felt evil until I slept with him. From this, we can see like the adjective evil. We know from straight off the bat that is the opposite of good. That she knew that what she has done is so bad. It is as far away from good as it could be. And obviously, like as we know, cheating is not something to be taken lightly. And especially with this, we know that she knows that she hurt David a lot. For this, I chose Dr. Evil because of it being felt evil. I felt like this was a good little connection. Because he is evil. And to go back to our theme relationship and what I said, we've talked about them, their backgrounds, their first trials, how they keep choosing and rebuilding. Um, and then when another trial happens, like the affair, they choose to rebuild and work on their marriage and work on themselves. And we know this through the quote number 8. Sharon and I firmly rebuilt our marriage, and it was blue collar work, exhausting and painful. Through this quote, we can see that blue collar work is to describe something that is like hands on activity, like working hard. You're not sitting behind a desk, you're getting your hands dirty in the grim of it. And I love how they put that together. This is a beautiful sentence because it is a lot of hard work. And that is what they did to make their relationship be full again. For this quote, I chose a Lego house because you build it, you have the patience. Um, you can work with a partner, obviously, but you rebuild it into a beautiful masterpiece, which is what is happening. With this story, we can see how they rebuild their relationship now, and Sharon is actually fallen ill, and David says this quote to her: "I would fist fight time to win your youth back." Within this quote, he is basically saying how he would go through all of these trials again just to be with her, and what he would do. And so this quote really stands out to me because it shows how much he would actually he fights for their relationship and how much he loves her. Is that he would fist fight time if he could, just to be with her. And I thought that was a beautiful quote. Anyways, going on to our last one. This last quote that I leave you guys with, it is to represent a full circle of the story, how the first trial that happens in their relationship is on a lie, and how they kind of come full circle on it. Quote number 10 says, I haven't lied to you since. Is that the truth? Yes, I said. And I thought that was a cute little story of how it shows their growth through the relationship and how they rebuilt not only each other, um, but they grew separately and they're learning from their mistakes, and it's a beautiful thing of love that they have for each other and respect that they have for each other, is that she was hurt from when he lied, so he never lied to her again. With this, I chose this picture of Let It Shine from Disney. Um, it, it is a movie where they are childhood friends. They met in school, kind of like David and Sharon, and Truth is actually his name, the rapper in the front. But she doesn't know that he raps, and he lies to her, and anyways, kind of the same along thing as a forgiveness, and they rebuild their relationship, and they come stronger than ever. And I thought that was a really cute little moment that made me think when reading this quote of the movie, because it had a lot of similarities with this story, with truth and growing and rebuilding relationships. Let's go on to We're Excited. This is my We're Excited page. As you can see, it has the text where I got the quotes from, which is the 10 Little Indians, as well as every single picture that is used in this slideshow presentation. I hope you've enjoyed, and pause if you need to. Going on to the next. And this is my last We're Excited page. I really enjoyed this project and be able to be creative with it, to pick the quotes that resonated most with me, as well as pictures that I felt that the quotes made me think of to resonate and to pick with. Hopefully you're able to see the timeline with it of how they met, how the relationship started, and to see conflict and resolution, how they were able to grow throughout the relationship and build towards each other, and choosing love most of all. Um, yeah, thank you.